There is a unique kind of power that doesn't announce itself with shouts or bluster. It doesn't need to. True power is quiet, it's deliberate. It is the kind of strength that comes not from showing off, but from knowing who you are, knowing what you are capable of, and understanding the landscape around you with clarity. The female general in this story didn't need to make noise, because she had already done the work before she ever stepped onto the battlefield. Every movement, every thought, every decision had been prepared, honed, and measured with the precision of someone who understood that chaos is only overwhelming to those who are unready. Preparation is a form of courage. It is the courage to face the unknown not with panic, but with strategy. In the stillness before confrontation, when the air is heavy and every heartbeat seems louder than usual, preparation is what allows a person to stand firm. The general had spent countless hours training, studying, and anticipating every possibility. She had walked the paths of her own fears, confronted the doubts that tried to creep in, and emerged not unscathed, but sharpened and steady. There is a lesson here. Confidence is not born from arrogance. It is born from understanding, from careful planning, and from the steady recognition of one's own strengths and limitations. The bandits who underestimated her could not have known this. They saw a woman alone, commanding a presence they expected to be fragile or timid. They thought their numbers, their weapons, and their reputation were enough to intimidate her, and in that assumption lay their first mistake. True power, however, often lies in the quiet assurance that nothing can rattle you. The general's calm confidence was not born of ignorance to danger, it was born of intimate acquaintance with it. She had walked alongside uncertainty before, and she had learned that fear is a natural companion, but it does not have to be a master. The way she carried herself, even in stillness, conveyed a message far more powerful than words or threats ever could. She was ready, and she was unshakable. Calm confidence is magnetic. It draws people in, even those who intend harm. It challenges them without aggression, because aggression is rarely necessary when the truth of capability is so evident. The bandits felt the shift the moment they faced her. Their bravado faltered, even if they did not immediately recognize why. There was no shouting, no attempt to provoke, no desperate assertion of dominance. There was simply presence, complete, grounded, unyielding. It is astonishing how often we underestimate the strength of someone who does not feel the need to prove it. Too often, we confuse volume with authority, chaos with power, and intimidation with skill. The general reminds us that the most formidable strength is the one that rests quietly beneath the surface, ready to act when the moment demands it. Preparation, too, is a shield. It is armor not forged from steel, but from knowledge, awareness, and practice. She had anticipated scenarios, studied the terrain, understood the psychology of her opponents, and prepared her own team to act with precision and trust. The calmness in her eyes was a reflection of the countless hours she had invested in making sure that when the moment arrived, she would not be caught off guard. This is the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is chaotic. It is the product of fear and impulse. Responding, in contrast, is deliberate. It is thoughtful, measured, and effective. The general's preparation allowed her to respond rather than react. And in that response, the bandits quickly discovered that their expectations, their assumptions, and their confidence were all illusions. There is also an elegance in calm confidence. It carries a sense of inevitability. It tells those who oppose you that resistance will meet with precision, not panic, that strategy will overcome chaos, that control does not require cruelty. The general's movements were precise, not reckless. Her commands were clear, not frantic. Every step, every word, every gesture communicated that she was in command, not because she demanded it, but because she had earned it through diligence, focus, and unwavering commitment to her purpose. Calm confidence does not need to shout to be heard. It speaks in the steady rhythm of someone fully aligned with their goals and their principles. We often overlook the subtlety of this kind of power. We are drawn to the loud, the flashy, the immediate, but real strength is measured in endurance and clarity. The general's ability to remain centered under pressure is what allowed her to see patterns that others missed. She noticed hesitation in the bandits' movements, uncertainty in their expressions, and the cracks in their coordination. She anticipated their reactions not because she was omniscient, but because she had prepared herself to notice, to understand, and to act. Preparation opens the eyes in ways that fear cannot. It creates foresight. It allows a person to navigate situations that would overwhelm those who rely solely on instinct or intimidation. The lesson here is as profound as it is simple. Calm confidence is not an accident. It is the product of consistent effort, deep reflection, and disciplined practice. It is rooted in humility, because those who are truly prepared recognize the limits of their knowledge even as they trust in their capabilities. It is rooted in patience, because understanding a situation fully before acting always yields better results than impulsive aggression. And it is rooted in courage, because it takes bravery to face the unknown, fully aware of the stakes and still maintain composure. The bandits learned this the hard way. They had relied on numbers, weapons, and intimidation. They assumed that strength was measured externally, that fear could be manufactured through aggression alone. They did not understand that the general had cultivated internal strength far beyond their comprehension. They did not see the countless hours of practice, planning, and reflection that had brought her to this moment. And so, their first encounter with her shattered their assumptions. They were unprepared for someone who did not panic, who did not flinch, and who responded with both intelligence and authority. Their surprise was palpable, and in that surprise lay their defeat. This is the truth about calm confidence. It does not announce itself in advance. It does not need to. It is proven in action, in decision making, and in the way one carries oneself when the pressure is at its peak. It is a force that commands attention without demanding it, that earns respect without requiring submission, and that transforms the perception of those around it. People notice composure because it contrasts sharply with the chaos and impulsiveness that often surround them. In the presence of calm confidence, chaos loses its power, fear loses its grip, and clarity emerges. We can take this lesson beyond the battlefield. In our own lives, we are faced with situations where fear and uncertainty threaten to overwhelm us. We encounter moments where we are underestimated, where our skills or intentions are doubted, and where the stakes feel impossibly high. In those moments, preparation and calm confidence are our greatest allies. They allow us to act with clarity, to maintain perspective, and to make decisions that align with our highest values. They remind us that strength is not defined by external validation, but by internal mastery. Preparation also creates resilience. It gives us the ability to adapt, to pivot, and to respond to unforeseen challenges. The general did not rely solely on strategy. She had trained herself to be flexible, to read the environment, and to adjust her actions in real time. This is what made her unstoppable. Confidence without preparation is fragile. Preparation without confidence is wasted. Together, they form an unbreakable foundation, one that allows a person to stand firm in the face of adversity, no matter how intimidating it may seem. And there is a beauty in that foundation. Calm confidence inspires others. It encourages those around us to trust, to follow, and to believe in their own capabilities. The general's team, watching her lead, gained courage not because they were forced to, but because they felt it radiating from her example. Leadership, at its core, is not about asserting dominance. It is about inspiring trust and confidence through example. It is about showing that preparation, clarity, and courage are not just abstract qualities, but lived experiences that guide actions and shape outcomes. Even when the stakes are high, when the opposition is fierce, and when the world seems uncertain, calm confidence rooted in preparation remains a constant. It allows a person to navigate complexity without being overwhelmed. It transforms potential panic into measured action. It teaches those around us to trust in their own judgment and to approach challenges with composure. And most importantly, it shows that real power is not about overwhelming others, but about mastering oneself and responding to life's pressures with clarity, courage, and precision. The bandits didn't see it at first. They couldn't have. It is difficult to perceive the depth of someone's preparation until it is already in motion. But when the moment arrived, the effect was undeniable. Every calculated movement, every precise command, every calm assessment of the situation revealed the invisible strength that had been cultivated long before the confrontation began. The lesson is universal. The quiet, prepared, and confident are often the most formidable forces in any arena. So, when we think about power, courage, and influence, we must remember that it is not measured by noise, by numbers, or by outward aggression. It is measured by preparation, clarity, and the ability to remain grounded when everything around us is uncertain. It is measured by the courage to face challenges with knowledge and calm, to act decisively without arrogance, and to command respect through competence and integrity rather than intimidation. That is the kind of power that transforms not only battles but lives. And in that calm, in that quiet preparedness, we discover the foundation upon which all great leadership is built. The courage to face the unknown, the wisdom to prepare for it, and the inner strength to act with clarity when it arrives. Courage is often misunderstood. We think of it as a roaring, visible force, a brave act that everyone can see and admire. But real courage is quiet, measured, and often hidden beneath a calm exterior. It is the courage to stand in the face of danger not for ego or recognition, but because it is the right thing to do. The female general in this story exemplifies this in every motion. She does not seek to intimidate, she seeks to protect, to lead, to act with integrity. Her courage is not defined by the destruction of her enemies, but by the way she holds herself and those under her care in the midst of chaos. Leadership and compassion are inseparable in moments like this. A leader who acts without thought for the well-being of others may achieve temporary victories, but true respect and loyalty are born from care, empathy, and understanding. She moves with precision, yes, but also with consideration. Every decision she makes accounts not only for strategy, but for the lives affected by her choices. The lives of her team, the lives of the bandits, the lives of bystanders. That is courage rooted in responsibility. It is bravery intertwined with compassion, and it is far more formidable than force alone. In the heat of confrontation, it is easy for fear to take control, for impulsive reactions to dictate outcomes. The bandits expect chaos and aggression. They assume that fear can be manipulated to their advantage. But when courage is guided by compassion, fear loses its power. The general does not rush into violence or seek to humiliate. She assesses, calculates, and acts decisively, but always with consideration. This kind of courage is infectious. It inspires her team to act with confidence, even under pressure, and it forces the opposition to recognize a strength that cannot be intimidated. Courage tempered by compassion allows for control in moments that seem uncontrollable. It creates space for rational decision, making, for strategic action, and for moral clarity. Every movement she makes is deliberate, every command is thoughtful, every pause is intentional. There is an elegance in her courage, a grace that belies the intensity of the situation. The bandits, expecting fear or chaos, are met instead with a calm yet unyielding presence. That is where the true power of her courage becomes evident, in the way it transforms the environment, recalibrates the tension, and shifts the momentum without unnecessary force. This is the kind of courage that changes outcomes not just through action, but through presence. Presence is powerful. It communicates awareness, preparation, and confidence without a single word. The bandits feel it immediately. They sense that the woman they underestimated is not only unafraid but fully in control of herself and the situation. Her calm courage forces them to reassess their assumptions. It forces them to recognize that their numbers, their weapons, and their aggression are irrelevant when confronted with someone whose bravery is grounded in understanding, preparation, and integrity. Courage guided by compassion also requires humility. It is a quiet acknowledgement that even in victory, one must act with respect for life, for justice, and for the rules that govern human behavior. She could crush the opposition with raw force, but her courage chooses strategy and protection over recklessness. In doing so, she not only secures victory, but preserves the dignity of all involved. This is a lesson in moral leadership. The greatest strength is not in domination, but in knowing when to act, how to act, and why to act, with responsibility, clarity, and care. The beauty of this kind of courage is that it inspires trust. Her team, observing her composed and decisive actions, gains confidence. They are willing to follow her, not because of fear, but because they see the integrity in her choices. Courage without compassion may force compliance, but courage with empathy creates loyalty, unity, and resilience. Those who witness it, even those who oppose it, cannot help but recognize the magnitude of such strength. It is both disarming and commanding, a paradox that leaves a lasting impression on everyone present. Even in moments of extreme danger, her courage allows for patience. It allows her to see openings, anticipate mistakes, and respond with precision. There is no rush. There is no blind aggression. Every decision is considered, every action measured. This patience, born of bravery and empathy, gives her an advantage that brute force alone could never achieve. Courage, when practiced this way, is a tool not just of survival, but of transformation. It turns potential chaos into order, aggression into opportunity, and fear into respect. What makes her leadership remarkable is the combination of courage, compassion, and moral clarity. She models behavior for those around her, showing that true strength is grounded in integrity. She demonstrates that bravery is not reckless, and that power is most effective when guided by empathy. In doing so, she not only defeats the immediate threat, but leaves an enduring lesson, that courage without care is hollow, but courage guided by compassion can reshape the world. In reflecting on her example, we see that courage is not a single act, but a way of being. It is the ability to confront fear and uncertainty with clarity, to act decisively while honoring moral principles, and to inspire others through example rather than coercion. The female general's courage is a reminder that true leadership is measured not by victories alone, but by the integrity and compassion with which those victories are achieved. Even the bandits, in the end, cannot help but recognize the power of this approach. They see a leader who is fearless, not because she does not feel fear, but because she has mastered it. They see strength that is steady, deliberate, and grounded in principles rather than impulse. And in that recognition, they are disarmed, not by violence, but by the quiet, undeniable presence of courage in its most refined form. Courage, when paired with compassion, teaches us that fear can be transformed into understanding, chaos into strategy, and intimidation into respect. It reminds us that the most formidable leaders are those who act with both strength and empathy, whose bravery is informed by wisdom, and whose victories are defined by integrity. This is a power that lasts far beyond the battlefield. It shapes teams, inspires communities, and changes perceptions of what leadership truly means. The female general shows us that courage is not about proving oneself to others. It is about acting in alignment with one's values, protecting those under your care, and responding to challenges with integrity and intelligence. It is about understanding that the moment of confrontation is not merely about defeating the opposition, but about demonstrating the highest qualities of leadership, preparation, presence, and compassion. And so, courage guided by compassion is not only about winning battles, it is about cultivating an environment where respect, trust, and unity flourish. It is about showing that strength does not require cruelty, and that true bravery can coexist with empathy. Those who have the courage to act with integrity, even under extreme pressure, leave an impact far greater than immediate victories. They leave a legacy. In every tense moment, we have a choice: to act with fear or to act with courage, to react impulsively or respond with wisdom, to dominate or to lead with care. The female general chose courage tempered with compassion, and in doing so, she transformed what could have been a moment of fear and chaos into a demonstration of strategic mastery, ethical leadership, and undeniable strength. Her courage is a lesson for all of us. It teaches that preparation, calm confidence, and empathy are the pillars upon which true leadership is built. It reminds us that bravery is most effective when combined with understanding, and that power guided by compassion is unstoppable. And it shows us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, those who act with integrity and clarity will always leave a mark far deeper than those who act out of fear, impulse, or aggression. Every action she took, every decision she made, was infused with the knowledge that courage without compassion is incomplete. But courage with empathy transforms not only the outcome of conflict, but the hearts and minds of everyone involved. The bandits learned this in real time, the general's team internalized it, and we, as observers, are reminded that real strength is measured not by the battles we fight, but by the character we demonstrate in fighting them.